Turned down for what? This is the Cole Memo. I'm your host, Cole Preston. Every episode is released in audio, video, and transcript format. To find the transcript, audio, or video version of any episode, please refer to the description of the episode that you're listening to now. Within that description, you can find a link that will take you to our website, which will display the transcript for this episode and the platforms where you can find this episode in audio or video formats. If you are unable to locate the episode description, I know every platform is different. Simply note the episode number and visit thecolememo.com. From there, you can find the corresponding episode, and then you'll be able to access the audio, video, or transcript version of that episode. You might also find any links that we reference during the episode so that you might be able to do your own research or connect with cool people like the guest I have today. If you're not listening to this episode of the Cole Memo on Patreon, then you're listening to this episode later than our patrons. To become a patron, go to thecolememo.com/Patreon. Once again, that's thecolememo.com/Patreon. It's a great way to support our show. But of course, one of the best ways to support our show is absolutely free. Tell people about it, subscribe, follow our show, leave us a positive review, favorite it, share it. All those good things. Your engagement and support is appreciated. Today is November 5th, and I'm joined with my good friend, Josh. How's it going, dude?
It's going good. I felt like I was on a flight about to take off. So it's good that we're token.
Yep. We're taking off. We are taking off.
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of taking
Very
off,
good.
let me pull up House Hemp. It's househemp.com, right?
househemp.shop.
.shop.
Well, it depends on what are you looking, what are you pulling it up on? The interwebs?
Yes, the interwebs. And I found it. I found it.
Nice.
Thank you. And I'll have this, as I mentioned, in the link description. But folks, this is what we'll be talking about today. You already know why I love Josh if you heard our last conversation on the Chillinois podcast, and you probably are putting two and two together by looking at this website now. Josh, I just want to give you the floor and the space. Yeah, I'm going to make your camera. Folks, again, tune into the video version. I'm going to put this. Yeah, here, take the floor and tell us what we're seeing right now.
So first of all, thanks for having me on.
Maybe even flip that phone sideways if you're able to.
Oh, yeah, there we
Boom.
go. Does that work? Did we just hit horizontal?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever done that on a podcast ever. So it's the first time. But I hope it's the first time you're also looking at like what would be the equivalent of like a hemp Happy Meal, yeah. It has everything that you need to kind of grow your own little happy house hemp at home. And if you can pass this level, if you can get a little plant grown in your window and you don't need a whole big old setup and or anything like that, then you can start to graduate. But being exposed to decorative hemp, that's kind of what we're about. So let me flip back here. These are our little gift boxes for live events. So basically, like if you're, cannabis company, a brand or whatever, and you're looking for something really cool to give your folks this year, maybe have them grow your own genetics. Imagine that,
yeah,
at home. So that's what we're about in the at least at the launch of this thing, because the last time I talked to you was after the innovation lab. Shout out to Brad Spearson. And at that point, I'm still trying to do a grower network, kind of thing, using Web3, and this is still my side gig. It's still like, this is cool, but now it's like after seeing the consumer response, taking this kind of concept to the people. Oh yeah, no, it's there. Folks want to experience what it means to grow hemp like they would grow a tomato.
Yeah. And yeah, what the plants you have are just absolutely gorgeous. And I remember you actually showed some. I wish that smell-o-vision was a thing in this context, for the reason that, when I was at the Cannabis Innovation Lab and you broke out some of those plants, the whole room smelled delicious. You know what I mean? So that's one thing we're missing out on here, at least folks that are tuning in. But show us those plants again, man. It's just absolutely crazy to see what decorative hemp can produce. Like that is impressive, you know. It's very
Yeah, and
impressive and
it's not meant for consumption if you're wondering. Like
sure.
I've got seashells on here that I've sourced from God knows where. There's
Mhm.
all sorts of like stuff in there that you wouldn't want to introduce to your body. So I'm growing this to flex. I'm growing this to make it look cool.
Yeah.
I'm growing this because we can, and I think that's kind of like what's going to help destigmatize. So this is an autoflower by Dutch Passion. It is damn it, I don't have the name. I think it's I'll get the name for you after, but it's by
No
Dutch
worries.
Passion.
Yeah.
The idea of doing autoflowers that almost act like a Glade plugin, because this one, the terps that come off of it. So if you've got good ventilation, there's a little heat source, you're smelling this in the room. You're smelling what otherwise you would pay, Glade Corporation or whatever, whoever does those like plugins to have in your house, and the smells that come off of this are, you know, berries, the genetics that we're growing, particularly for, uh, you know, decorative, is a mix between Blue Dream and Runts, and the terps that come off of that are super tropical, very blueberry, very gum, bubblicious terpenes and stuff like that. So that's kind of like where we're going with that. But let me also then run you through and show you some of the smaller plants that we have, because we just had this event at Stash Dispensary in Orland Hills, and I wasn't expecting, to sell a few plants just like anybody would sell clones, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't keep them on, could not keep these things on the shelf, and the demand was so insane. Now we're trying to grow, like, how do we keep 100 in inventory a month? How do we keep that kind of going and just make sure all the grandmas are there? But um, as you can see, what we're doing is we're high stress training them, bending them around, tying up with wires, and just really giving them their own particular shapes, taking them where they want to go, and making these little couch canopies, right? So you have this on your coffee table after it's got a couple little buds on it. Um, you're not really expecting to smoke that, but you're absolutely experiencing that plant. It's absolutely
Right.
doing a good job of scrubbing the air around you, like that kind of stuff. So uh, this is the prep table where I come to decorate ones that are already kind of ready to be out there, and the rest are happening in what I'm calling like the bonsai bakery over here, which is like a absolute mess right now because I moved these around, but I'm ready, just getting another crop ready for live events here. And then I have a couple of tents that let me make them a little bit more, and I'll show you that stuff is the next episode, just to keep it keep the suspense going, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so cool. And like you say, even though it may not be for consumption, I think it goes a long way towards normalizing the plant, because not only like people that come through and just see it on your coffee table and it just feels normal, like that goes a long way towards normalizing the plant, but also just the fact that a person is able to keep something like that alive, just like they do with a bonsai tree or whatever. As
Right.
you kind of alluded to at the beginning, it could make them feel more confident and comfortable with actually pursuing the cultivation of cannabis, maybe not just decorative cannabis. So you're
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just love this in so many different ways. And ever since we started talking about it, I was like, dude, whenever you want to talk about this, the platform's open. So yeah, yeah, this is cool. This is really cool.
The idea of hemp being a gateway is ironic and fun
Hmm.
to use, and just turn that term gateway to the garden
Yeah.
is the way I like to say now, because frankly, hemp is a very, very forgiving plant.
Mm-hmm.
To grow it professionally and to master it, yeah, it takes a long time. It takes a lot of understanding, but that's the fun about it. That's where you can make learning about it fun, is if you actually started at that really simple level. Because like, to enter growing right now, hemp, cannabis, whatever, you are looking at prosumer level conversations, gear, investment,
Right.
etc.
Right.
Right. So what we're saying is like, screw all that. Right. You'll get there. But to start there, the barriers are too high. And if the future is what I think it's going to be, where this is a very hyper local business, the cultivation of cannabis, craft cannabis, and goods and services around it, then you want to kind of like have a way to find the superstars early and fast, and really give people just a new alternative, uh, uh, to putting their hands to work. And a plant like hemp, if you just treat it like a house plant, keep it alive, you'll move to other house plants. Then you move to the
Yeah.
garden, and then
Yeah.
you'll like, you'll figure out more and more how to take care of yourself, because you've learned how to cultivate something. And that's the magic of gardening altogether. And this is the industry knows that, except that hemp has never been available. And to be in the mindset of, hey, can I just grow this just because it's cute, not to consume it, not to do anything with it. And I'm looking forward to what that's going to bring.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I like how you kept it open to the entire garden too, because that it truly does inspire me. Like the tents behind me, I'm like, why don't I just throw other things in there? I've been able to grow cannabis, just fine. And so yeah, yeah, exactly.
potatoes, man, grow your own
Exactly.
potatoes, bro.
Yeah, tomatoes, man. Tomatoes are good as well. And another thing that I feel like you tucked in to one of the things you said was it could and would allow like professionals to perhaps flourish, in another way. And I've always thought that about home grow as well. Like it seems like, we could get into all obviously the political reasons that it's not happening, but I've always wondered why it hasn't been viewed as like a talent acquisition space. And I think I didn't even think about this before I started, but I think you would really vibe with this idea because like that's what everything else is, where it's like you let people kind of workshop together and you know
Mm-hmm.
cook up home code. I'm thinking of like in the IT realm,
Mm-hmm.
um so it's like, yeah, you by keeping it almost criminalized in some ways, or most people being unable to do it, you might even be missing out on some talent that could really serve some of these companies.
And that's on the people side. To me, that's very obvious.
Sure.
What about the plant side?
Yeah.
Like, what have we been suppressing because we have had a production mindset towards the plant, and it hasn't been a generally accessible plant. So let's
Oh yeah,
take,
good point.
scientifically speaking, the CO2 levels of consumption of your typical hemp plant, right? Higher than usual across all flora. So, other part I just said was very forgiving plant. Put it in your window. So, if we can get anybody to grow this thing, it's easier to grow than a basil plant, in my opinion. Uh, then in an urban environment, even if you're doing a bad job of growing the plant, you're still doing a good job of helping offset carbon emissions. And it's something we haven't even looked at because we can't grow it, or we were not able to grow it, or we were not in the mindset that we could grow it in some places like Illinois, Colorado, California. From this perspective, non-consumption, decorative, uh, follow your regulations, people. I don't want to get in trouble. I need this to happen. Please don't get me in trouble.
To your point of not for consumption and just Illinois, I think you're gonna love this one, Josh. Like, and to your point of cannabis being a very or hemp, let's say, being a very forgiving plant. This is an article from all the way back in September 4th, 1989. This is hemp growing in Illinois. Wild marijuana, which is a common problem for Illinois farmers, takes root on the Knox County farm of John Block. So if you want to read this, marijuana, that
Oh wow.
hardiest of Illinois ditchweeds, annually spreads its seeds on farms throughout the area, and not even on the 3,000-acre Knox County farm of John Block is immune. It's a very hardy
Oh wow.
weed that isn't always eradicated by herbicides. And yeah, it's just funny. It just keeps
Just
on
can't get rid of
growing.
it.
And here's the
Yeah.
best part. The wild hemp growing across Illinois is descended from hemp grown by many farmers to produce rope during World War II. So this is just a remnant of
How dare those farmers in World War II use hemp to make rope? What the fuck were they
yeah,
thinking?
but to your point, look how forgiving a plant it is. It still grows even though they don't want it to. They're like
Yeah,
trying to kill it.
doesn't care. It's just like, can I have some water every once in a while? Maybe. Okay, cool. Am I in the sun? Sweet, right? That's pretty much about that. And I think people are going to discover that. I think that the mythology around growing production, consumable cannabis, that's hard, right? Good stuff, hard. Um, has just kind of muddied the mindset about like just how forgiving the plant is. And we'll get there. And I think that uh, the current industry is going to end up being better for it, uh, especially when it comes from an educational perspective. The people that are attacking me at these events are grandmas. They're people that would be about my mom's age right now if she was still alive.
Attacking
And
you as
and
in
and
like they really want your
like
stuff,
I
right?
want to buy that plant. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care that it's your demo plant. I know you don't have a price on it because you want me to haggle you because I'm old and I know what you're doing, young man. I need this plant. And frankly, man, it reminds me of my mom and her aunts dragging me off to the flower shows and going crazy over orchids and literally haggling the growers over the price of their flowers to take them
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
That's where this plant should be. And then the incredible variety of this plant is what's going to keep it really cool and local. To me, phenotype means your local expression of a thing, right? Like a plant.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get only things you can see in the Illinois region, only things you can see in the California region, only things you would see in the dry region, whatever. This is what I think is where this is going to. And uh the laws seem to be more and more favorable in regards to just letting people grow it in their gardens. And um, I'm not even asking for that. I'm just like, let them put it in a pot in their house, which is none of your business anyway.
Right. Right. It's
Mr. Government.
just decorative hemp. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
pretty.
very
Yeah,
cool
helping
stuff.
the inside environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's towards the middle of the event. I did have a photo of the table. I didn't put it up at the end there because but I did have a photo of the table like after the event. It was like destroyed. It's like no
Cleaned
plants
out.
there.
That's a good thing.
And it was fantastic because part of it is introducing people to growing. Another one is most of the plants that went off the table are my own genetics that are being bred specifically for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I have my own medical, so I grow and pursue my own things, obviously,
Sure.
but this is a whole different beast. Um, so it's cool to have people out there testing them with me. It's given me an idea of how to do community around this, um, how to share rights over genetics that we discover together as a community, for example, uh, things like that. Because to me, because this is a foundational level category, the genetics that come from this in 10, 15 years from now are going to be very important and valuable to the people that fucking figured them out, right? Uh, and their genetics that are going to be completely different from what's important on the production side. Um, it allows us to pursue things like polyploidal stuff because we're not talking about consumption. We don't know. We can allow mutations to happen. You know.
Right. Well, some of the things I'm thinking of is like you could take advantage of certain terpenes that people enjoy to make, like you said, it would save you on like air freshener, Glade, stuff like that, candles,
Yes.
all
Yeah.
that.
Like a living air freshener, a living, odorizer. Uh, to me, you're cutting down on energy consumption for a machine, and you're also cutting
Danger
down
from a
on the
candle.
men the manufacturing that goes into all
Oh,
these like
true.
disposable plugins and all the plastics that go into that stuff.
True.
You know,
Yeah, I didn't even
all,
fucking think
all,
about that.
all of it in plants that can be bred very specifically over time to be like, hey, this is super orange. And if you like that, like, uh, you know, clean your table smell, that's what
That's
that's
citrus.
what that is. Yeah,
Yeah.
super hardcore. And it would be things that maybe otherwise would be grown for production because hey, this is too overpowering on the nose, right? Like people are just coughing all of this up. They don't like it, but it smelled so good
Yeah.
while it was growing. And that's happened to a lot of breeders, and I know that story can resonate now. They can go, all right, I have another purpose for this fucking genetic now.
Yeah.
Or I can take a genetic to a place where, oh shit, not for smoking, but for smell. Let's see where I would hunt. Um, there's going to be a bounty uh, of genetics found over the next 25 years on this stuff, and I'm hoping that we are at the beginning of that, and then that we're sharing very equitably and and with blockchain technology, Web3 stuff, the rights, the royalties, uh, and all that other stuff too. So
Yeah.
looking forward to developing a category here, man.
Yeah. So once again, folks, househemp.shop. I'll have it in the website description, rather the episode description. So once again, you can check that out on our website, or there's a link in the episode description that'll just take you right there. So I just gotta, can you remind me? I feel like we talked about it maybe last time, but were you just like doing this yourself and then you thought like you just had a really good like I'm just curious how this came to be.
So back in about 2018, I'm picking up my mom from Puerto Rico. Um, one of my uh, cousin's husbands is a grower, and they used to train the plants down to evade detection. And because of that practice, he took it on to his spare time to do things like wrap it around a vase. And it's just like art and craft that he was never able to really share with anybody that would be accepting of it. Um, or at the time, just like, really black market. So when I saw the pictures, I was like, hey, this is the business right here. I told them, like, this is becoming normalized to the point where even just let's say your market is the gangster rappers of Puerto Rico, right? Like, or whatever. Just go give them this amazing shit that I've never fucking seen before. And that was about 2018. And then right around there, I started to look up who's doing this, cannabis bonsaiing, things like that. And I find a couple out in Toronto that has on Instagram, they're Canna Bonsai with a Z, and they have this amazing coffee table book. It's full of their photos of techniques and shit they've done over the years, but it's still very niche, right? Because they're showing high skill level, like, hey, here's this really amazing but high skilled version of this, right? To me, that's like the bonsai aspirational. And I see Kenna Bonsai Manny on Instagram with like thousands and thousands of followers. People just absolutely went crazy in the comments. And you know, I'm already at this point practicing it, but thinking about it in a different way. And it wasn't until I kind of like had a conversation with a former mentor of mine, not mentor of mine. He used to be he was an investor, and then he was the CEO of the company that I fired myself from. Tap me, Matt Spiegel's his name. Tells me, if you can show me that people will buy this in a box, and you can just like show me in unit economics how this works, and you show me a couple of events like that people want this, like, yeah, duh. If you could show me that I can grow a little plant on my kitchen counter and get a quarter ounce of it, I don't care if you want me to tell me that or not, I'm in. Like, kind of stuff. Just show me the consumer product. And that's it. It was just like, just from there, I denied starting it up for about a year and a half, 2 years, convoluted it with, let's do a grower network, because I see all the parts of this being very hyper local, needing to work with other local growers to fulfill demand, right? Because it's handcrafted, right? Things like that. And just went immediately to, let me go fulfill that side of things. One, it was still kind of dubious. Can we sell these plants? Can we do this legally? It was still all dubious. Now it's pretty clear, right? Under a certain height, under a certain quantity, the intent's important too, right? We're not intending to distribute, to grow for consumption. So there's arguments around that. We're going to challenge the system on that side too. I'm happy to be that scapegoat. I think all great entrepreneurs put themselves at risk regulatory wise when there's something that doesn't exist, and I'm willing to do that for this. And that's that. It just kind of like grew from there. The Cannabis Innovation Lab was the nail in the coffin of not doing it anymore, because like the pitch I gave there was still very like, here's this potential thing that could exist, people. I'm still not selling the business, right? I'm still not showing you I sold 300 fucking plants last month. What? I sold 3,000 plants last month. What? And 400 boxes on debut day. What? Like I'm not telling them these things. These numbers are these are just examples. I'm not giving out my numbers. Nothing like that just yet. That's all that needed to happen. Was, can I be at a booth? Will the public like have the balls to buy this as a product, accept it, have questions, the right questions, walk away with the right intentions, right? Is the box, the gift box, the starter kit, an easy sell? Do they get it? And Target and Home Depot and all these other great corporations don't have to work for me, because they've been selling these seed starter kits for years now. And people love them. They give them a lot of shelf space, my guy, right? So it was kind of a no-brainer. Really good to see. Just I've seen the plants work at a table before. We weren't selling the plants, and people were asking, hey, can I buy that plant? Was one of the things. They would go up to this booth that was just using the plants as a display,
right?
Which is dope as hell. Every event I've gone to, not more than 5 minutes passed before somebody, usually older mom, grandma, has asked me to buy the plant I have in my hands, right? So the market's there, the demand is there, and the beautiful thing about this is too is, once you do have, a few million people growing these things across the state, it's impossible to stop it.
Right.
And the normalization and the education that'll come with that, to me, is just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, dude.
Frankly, so
that's my
fun
favorite
shit.
part. Icing is the sweetest part. Yeah, I like it. Well, that's really cool. That's really cool. And I'm excited at the prospect or the idea of seeing some of these plants in person, whether it's at the next Cannabis Innovation Lab. I don't know if you're planning on going to that one.
For sure, I'll be there.
Cool. I think yeah, I texted you earlier today. I might be at that one. Try to swing that to make it work. And
We got to do like a live podcast, or at
that's what I
least
was
a
just gonna
live
say. That
recording.
that'd
Let's
be
do it.
cool. We could like set up at a table and just yeah, have a plant with us and do the whole thing. So
If you don't mind, I'd love to co-opt you to host like a live couch canopy event, right? Like where it's what I want to call our podcast and our
yeah.
spaces,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
basically like, it's just trying to normalize that idea, right? Like where you could just sit down and play video games, and like there's your little canopy right there on your
Hmm.
couch, like it's just there for you to enjoy.
Yeah.
But I'm also kind of stealing the idea from Zach Galifianakis and Between Two Ferns.
Yeah. Hey though, that's cool. I like this.
That's more the set I'm kind of thinking we should build there. Like I
Hmm.
wish I had I just cut down some plants, but it would have been perfect to bring. And maybe I got some friends that could help. But it would be cool to get some really tall babies.
You know, it'd be really cool is that, we were just talking before we went on air about this floating head look that we have with the Zoom,
Yeah.
green screen. And so some people are suggesting I get a little bit more professional of a look. So maybe I consult with House Hemp on my display plants, in the set. And
Ooh.
we can make it very clear that, they're House Hemp plants and it'll just be part of the Cole memo. Wouldn't that be cool?
Frankly, man, I've been waiting for somebody to ask me for this because we need to have our plants on these
Yeah,
backgrounds on
like
these
those
sets.
little
Like, yeah,
subliminal,
let's go.
yeah,
Just
subliminal,
there. It's
whatever
just
that's called.
there, being a plant, bro. It's the whole thing. It just never had the opportunity to just be a plant. It's always like this thing that people want to burn up,
Hmm.
right? Like either because they want to smoke it or because they don't want to see it or deal with it. So they just want to burn it all up. Just let's let the plant just hang out.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I can see it right now. I want to have at least like three plants, like maybe one in the foreground, two in the background, something like that. Like one on my desk, and then like two like
Mm.
on shelves, something like that. I don't know. I can see it.
You know what, man? I can hear some of the more veteran growers just cringing right now, being like, "Ah, like why would anybody do that?" And I'm like, you know what, man? Listen, tough guy. This gives you the opportunity to like pop some of those seeds that you've been just fucking having in your inventory forever, and you can't catch up on your grow time. Pop them decoratively, just pop them to flex them, pop them to look at them, right?
Yeah, I think people
Uh,
that I think if anybody's cringing at this, that's I don't know. Maybe we're just not on the same bandwidth because I've grown them in like solo cups, for example, and it's interesting. It was the idea that yeah, it wasn't necessarily to smoke. It was just a science experiment. Like let's see what this thing can do. And if I can find the video, I'll display it right now. Maybe I'll add it post production, but yeah, purely for science. And that's exactly what this is for. So I think every grower is actually vibing with it, to be honest. Maybe there's one weird grower out there that's like, what the heck? Well, I don't understand. But I think most growers get it.
and if they're out there, I challenge you. I challenge you to fisticuffs.
Yeah.
Come down here and like, come at
Come on,
me so they
come
grow
on,
some more
couch
flowers.
canopy. We'll slam you live on couch canopy.
Like literally, like just get on the couch and do some like some couch rest. Oh man, all the way back to childhood right now. This is great.
Yeah.
I'm
So
thinking about my mom, thinking about wrestling, thinking about couches. Let's go.
just extra plugs for you. And I'm honestly curious because I think you invited it to me to it once, but I wasn't able to make it. Is it something you do on like Twitter Spaces or X Spaces or whatever we're supposed to call it now?
So just started that, and this is with my co-founder Angie Moreland. Uh, she's a grower from. I'll let her introduce herself at some point
Sure.
soon. Um, but she's a grower from the early Cresco days, uh, and just immediately fell in love with the idea. And she's also like a floral decorator and a master gardener. And I was like, oh my god, I'm none of those things, and I'm doing this, and I need somebody like you. But she's also done like massive cultivation too,
Nice.
so she understands that side of things, and uh, just it immediately just made sense. And the idea is we're going to do like a weekly space where eventually, right, we get into the cadence of customers and people that have questions about their plants can just jump into the space. We answer them, car talk style,
Hmm.
and just go through making sure everybody's having the best time doing this. Also sharing, the knowledge that we have in a simple way. Keeping up with some of the news. Would love to have you on there. That'd be great. And frankly, man, I love that format. The only thing that's kind of keeping me sane on whatever is happening over there, Twitter, X Twitter,
Yeah.
Twixter. Oh Jesus. Oh Elon, what are you doing, bro? Um, is this Spaces format, right? Is the ability to have this like live chat format,
Yeah.
um, and then being able to pull from the Twitter audience is good. So, uh, doing it over
Because
there.
I was gonna say it is crazy how it seems like they straight up like just totally took that from like it's like Clubhouse was that for a while and now that's Twitter. You know what I mean? Like I feel like
I
that's
mean,
where that continues. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's still a vibrant Clubhouse community, but I feel like all you know what I'm saying? Like spaces are really where that's at now. Am I wrong?
all all of the people that were hardcore Clubhouse folks are, on Twitter doing it way bigger,
Yeah.
right? It's just it's just a network effect that Twitter has. I mean, they just added calling to just like WhatsApp. Elon
Oh,
has
really?
stated what he's going to do is turn it into a everything app, a la Chinese government,
Hmm.
WeChat, and control all of our lives from there. So I'm just kind of giving in to to the new broadcast network, Lord and Commander, and having a space over there about growing hemp in your house.
Yeah. That's funny. How so that's cool though that people can join it over there. I have to agree with you that they're the ones doing that type of like format right. Um, are you ever actually in the metaverse or any like virtual reality yet? I just know that like that's really taken off. Like I just saw a podcast that Mark Zuckerberg, which I saw a post you made about Mark Zuckerberg today. It was hilarious. But I saw a podcast he did like a few weeks ago in this virtual like space they made. It was very interesting. I was just curious, do you like do VR at all yet? I just feel like it's going to be awesome in the
So
future.
I'm more of an AR guy when it comes to
Okay.
like new interfaces stuff, but I'm a hardcore video game world guy. So
Hmm.
to me, a virtual reality is that by definition.
Yeah.
The interface is what people are trying to get to right now, but the concept is penetrated my mind a long time ago.
Yeah.
To me, a virtual asset can mirror a real world asset. Like you can have parity between your car IRL and URL, right? Your house IRL and URL, if that's what you choose to have as an avatar, right? Um, Part of the exploration around the bonsais was how can I use NFTs? How can I use that technology, not from a market standpoint or trading standpoint, but
Hmm.
as a data repository for the plant? Keeping track of the grow log, keeping track of the pictures and the rights of the picture, um, based on the grower and the plant itself, right? As proof that that's where that came from. Future internet stuff, how to prove provenance and rights. That's kind of where I'm at with that.
Web
And
3
importing my plants into fucking GTA to flex them,
into
you know,
GTA,
yeah, like
like Grand
imagine,
Theft
like, all
Auto.
right, so imagine in Grand Theft Auto, the new
Okay,
one,
yeah.
right? The
Hell yeah.
online version. I can choose to be like a fucking black market grower or whatever, and fucking be super gangster about it. And like fucking, instead of growing the shitty stock plants that they give me, that Take Two gives me, I can import my own 3D version of my own plants, that have their provenance on the blockchain,
Right,
You know,
right.
I could even sell clones of the plant to other people to have in their rooms. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's kind of where I see all that stuff going. It's what video games have been doing for a long time. You know, just providing us this alternative expression space. To me, the metaverse really is the not what not none of this VR stuff, but a collection of all human stuff, if that makes sense. So the universe being everything that was here before we were here and became sentient, and
Mhm.
everything that we do as a sentient race is our metaverse. It's what we uh, are are saying as creatives, as product makers, as whatever the fuck it is that we are, as humans. That's our creations all together, right? Digital has advanced to bring that together in a way that's very special. Web3 is going to bring the governance around IP, um, um, and other stuff, and better monetization for creators around that concept. Uh, so that's all it is. Everything else is like, you know, just people taking advantage of this new system and marketing it in a way uh, that makes them money, just like everything else. You know, most people don't need to have gold in their house, but you know, in the beginning, folks used to run around selling it from the back of their carts, so because it was important shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm high.
I found my foray into decorative cannabis. Took me a
Mm,
while, but I found it. Want to see it?
let's go.
I will have to see what date this is from. 120 June 20th, 2021. This is what I grew in a solo cup.
Oh wow, that's thick.
Yeah.
She's a
I
thick
ended up giving
girl.
it to a friend and he did consume it and he said it was great. It was like,
Nice.
you know,
I mean, that's a fat little nut. You can get a really nice couple blunts out of that.
yeah, he said it was about an eighth.
Wow,
And I just grew that
not bad.
like just a seed that I was gonna like I was gonna replant it, and then I was like, fuck it. I just let it grow straight up and put it into my flowering tent.
Yep.
I went into
Like,
flower
don't
and
even care. It's like fucking just do it.
yeah, yeah, and it was fine. Honestly, it smelled great. And he said, I just like clipped it, and I was like, here. I was like, you're gonna have to do the drying and the curing, but you know, like if you do it right, it'll smoke. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And he said he did, and he said it did. So yeah. Anyways, just kind of a funny story. Um, but yeah, dude, I love what you're doing with this. I know I already stated it, but it's the twofold of not only exposing people, to it by just having it, decoratively displayed. It catches people's eyes. Most people like they first of all they may not even understand that it's cannabis until they really get a good look at the leaf, because not a lot of people I think are familiar with what cannabis looks like flowering. I think more people are familiar with what it looks like in the veg state because they know what the leaf looks
Mm-hmm.
like. So when they see it flowering and they smell it, they're like, whoa, what is that, you know?
Right.
And then they take a closer look and they're like, oh my gosh, that's cannabis, you know? And then my most favorite part about it, I know I keep leading with the normalization part, but I think that's the part that lays the foundation for us to continue moving and making substantive reform in cannabis, is that normalization. So that's why I lead with it. But I think the second part is, and the really really important part is, when people figure out that you can just do this and it's not that hard, and cannabis or hemp is as forgiving as it is, they start to wonder, like, maybe I could start to save like $10 a month and buy a tent one of these days and buy a light one of these days. And, maybe I
Mm-hmm.
could try to grow cannabis because it doesn't seem to be that hard. Or maybe it doesn't even have to be cannabis. Maybe they can be, you know what? Maybe I do want to rent a plot this summer and start growing tomatoes and zucchini because I could grow cannabis. I could keep that plant alive. And
Right.
I don't know. I think that's what is
Or
so
maybe
fucking
I don't
cool.
have the space to grow right now, and this is still a way to keep up with my craft and my
Yeah.
love for it. And just a way to continue to explore. I think that that's our goal. And to me, to that point, it deserves not just a business, but it deserves like an association. It deserves like a national decorative hemp association type thing. And I've been writing a charter for this over the last like couple of weeks now, because I want Illinois to host the first ever decorative hemp expo, or like when you bring the top of the game to the table to go, what are the rules of this? What are we going to do with this? Right? How are we going to work together to make this happen? I want it to happen right here. And that's it's completely outside of what I'm trying to do, but at the same time, it gives the platform for other people like me in other places to do this, and that's what needs to happen. Like it can't be some like fiat, I'm gonna go and get patents on nobody else can do decorative hemp or say this or say that. Like it has to be like straight up, um, you know get the best and the brightest together, and take advantage of the moment, to work together on this next level, versus make it some sort of like state by state competition, and then within the state it's another it's another leveling up of stuff. Like this needs to stay like all the other flowers on the market, right? We just have certain, rules and things that make us work together in a different way. I don't know. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But it deserves that, So
Yeah. And it's, I don't know. The note I really would like to, I guess we don't have to close on I've got plenty of time, but my last thought, I guess, that I have right now is it's been 81 years approximately since the government said grow hemp, right? And now with the farm bill, they're saying grow hemp. And they don't seem to not be saying, it's not like, hemp's going to become, there's no indication that hemp is going to become illegal, especially when you're talking about hemp that is not for consumption purposes, especially
super
when you're
bullish.
talking about that, you're just, it's not going to go away. So yeah, grow, people, grow. Grow, and you should. It's woven into our fabric as a nation. I don't mean to get patriotic or anything, but like we need to continue this tradition. This is one of the few traditions that's like kind of okay in American history that I think we should continue.
Well, it's a reuniter for me, man. I see it. I can see it happening. And
yeah,
I'm cool. I think that is a good note.
Yeah.
To leave it on.
Sweet. Well,
it's
Josh, I hope.
Yeah,
and I hope that we can connect here in the future, if not at the Cannabis Innovation Lab sometime soon. I'll buy a few Happy Meals from you and get some decorative cannabis going on. So, well, folks, one more time, it's househemp.shop. The link is in the podcast description. I hope you found as much value in this conversation as I did. We'll see you on the next episode of the Cole Memo. Take care, everybody.